Her hand gripped my wrist, firm, deliberate, a silent command wrapped in soft skin. She leaned closer, her breath brushing my cheek, and whispered, "Don't bring up your job." Her voice was quiet, but beneath the surface, unease trembled like a taut wire. Her smile, practiced and polished, flickered toward her well-dressed friends, an elegant performance that cast me as a mere shadow at her side. "Just relax and enjoy the night," she added, her eyes sliding past me, never settling, never seeing. I nodded, wordless. As her words sliced through me with precision she probably didn't even notice. They landed heavy, sinking like stones into the pit of my chest. To this world she claimed as her own, I was invisible, a nameless man lost in the whirring clutter of a workshop, hands stained with grease and dreams. I didn't smell like luxury or wealth. I carried the scent of solder, metal filings, late nights spent breathing in heat and focus. My fingers were rough, not manicured, callous from building things that actually worked, not shaking hands over deals made with champagne and charm. Her laughter, too sharp, too light, rang like brittle glass, all sparkle and tension. Around the table they smiled, but it was the kind of smile you give a waiter who oversteps. Their glances skimmed past me, full of subtle disdain. I wasn't someone to know. I was someone to tolerate, like background noise at a gala. They spoke her name, Vanessa, with reverence, as if she were royalty. And what was I to them? Nothing. That was the moment, the precise, cutting moment, when something inside me snapped, not with rage, but with clarity. The warmth I carried for her, the fierce loyalty I clung to through every change, every shift in her gaze, died quietly. It didn't scream. It simply stopped being there. But it hadn't always been this way. In college, we were two dreamers orbiting each other, scribbling plans between library books, sharing one cup of cheap coffee, laughing over buzz of vending machines and exhaustion. I was knee-deep in circuits and code, chasing sparks that lived in my bones. She said my passion lit something wild in her. She'd sit beside me, feeding me cold noodles from a cracked plastic bowl, whispering how we'd take over the world together. On our wedding day, she tucked sneakers beneath her dress, a small rebellion, just for me. "We're going to rule the world," she had murmured then, eyes ablaze with fire and youth. And I believed her. We both did. But somewhere along the way, she took off running and never looked back. Her world became one of sharp suits and champagne brunches, venture capital and rooftop parties with guest lists full of ambition. My workshop, once our shared dream, became something she flinched from. She outgrew me, or so she thought. I saw it first in the way she scanned rooms, not for me, but for power. Her gaze always moving, always searching. Our home became a hotel. Her phone never left her hand. Screen always down, calls taken in whispers behind closed doors. Her laughter was no longer mine. I didn't accuse her. I observed, because silence, when patient, tells the truth words try to hide. I tracked her expenses, noted the late-night meetings, installed a device in her car. Not out of malice, but for clarity. Data doesn't lie. Neither did the lipstick smeared on a stranger's tie. He was older, silver-haired, powerful. A private equity giant with a name that cracked open doors in her world. She called him her mentor. She didn't know I knew. But while she was out building connections, I was building something real. A vision born in sweat and solitude. My hands, the same ones she once held with admiration, were wiring the future. I wasn't just tinkering anymore, I was creating. Meetings at dawn, days without rest. Protein bars for meals and raw determination in my veins. A year later, I launched. 3 months in, investors circled like hawks, sensing a storm of change. 6 months after that, we sealed Series A. 2 titans in the tech world shook my hand and joined my mission. But Vanessa never asked what I was working on. Never once. To her and her polished circle, I was just working on something. Something vague. Something forgettable. I let them think that. I let them smile politely and look through me. Because revenge, when it comes dressed in silence, is unforgettable. I waited. I chose her birthday. She planned the night like a fairy tale. backslash $50, 000 spent on perfection. Rooftop dining under city stars, oysters flowing on ice, a string quartet humming elegance into the air. I wore the same watch she once mocked. Now it gleamed, custom-made, quiet luxury. She was radiant, basking in admiration, every hair in place, lips painted with precision. She looked at me with expectation, like I'd serve up another compliment, another empty nod. I handed her the gift, a small box, inside a single page. It was a Forbes feature, 40 under 40. My photo, my name, my empire built from grit and circuits. The headline? A man who turned rejection into reinvention. Her hands trembled, her lips parted, a gasp trapped in her throat. I didn't wait for applause. I stood. I left. The silence that followed was mine. It belonged to her now. Her friends pulled out their phones, whispered my name like a mystery unraveling before them. One asked, "You knew about this?" Another laughed, a short, stunned sound. Vanessa's voice cracked. He never said anything. Exactly. She spent years dimming my light to preserve her own shine. In doing so, she missed the moment I became the sun. I left quietly the next morning. No confrontation, no theatrics, just a signed envelope on the counter. The prenup she once insisted on, sure she was marrying a man with dreams but no future, held strong. Now I had millions. She had nothing. She called. She texted. She emailed. I didn't answer. 2 weeks later, she came, drenched in regret and perfume. She stood in the lobby of my office tower, heels too high, voice too fragile. "I didn't know," she whispered, eyes wet. "Why didn't you tell me?" I met her gaze, steady, unflinching. "Because you told me not to talk about my work." She recoiled. A flinch, a breath, and she was gone. That was the last time I saw her. Do I miss her? Not really. I miss the girl who wore sneakers under silk, who believed in sparks and stories. The girl who fed me noodles while I coded like a madman. But that girl vanished the day she told me to silence my voice. Now I speak loudly, proudly, not for wealth, but for worth, for the man she tried to shrink, and the empire he built while she wasn't looking.